Good evening, everyone. My name is Maddie Gold. In high school, I was privileged to have participated in Valley Chabad's Eternal Flame Teen Fellowship Program. Together, with a wonderful group of fellow teens, we studied, explored, and learned about the horrors of the Holocaust. Throughout the fellowship, we had very special opportunities to interact with, as well as connect with Holocaust survivors. Eternal Flames Fellowship made the experiences that the survivors shared come to life in a new way and continue to have an impact on the way I live. Currently, as a junior at Binghamton University, I am extremely involved with Jewish leadership on campus. I am able to use the skills and knowledge I gained through Eternal Flame to not only be proud of who I am as a Jew, but also stand up against hate, anti-Semitism, and unjust criticism of Israel whenever I see it on campus. I am extremely thankful to the supporters who make Eternal Flame and events like tonight possible. Please allow me to welcome Rabbi Dov Drizin and share a few words about our special guest tonight, Dr. Edith Eger. Dr. Eger, one of the very few living Holocaust survivors, was sent to Auschwitz at 16. She endured unimaginable experiences, including being ordered to dance for the notorious Dr. Joseph Mengele, who murdered her parents. Dr. Eger is an inspiring speaker, human dignity advocate, and award-winning author. Her New York Times bestselling book, The Choice, is a powerful, moving memoir and a practical guide to healing, which uses her past as a powerful analogy to inspire people to reach their potential and shape their destinies. Please welcome Rabbi Dov Drizin, the Executive Director of Valley Chabad.
Thank you so much, Maddie. The eternal flame is eternal in voices like yours. My name again is Rabbi Dov Drizin, and together with my wife, Hindi, we are the Shluchim, ambassadors of the Rebbe in Valley Chabad in northern New Jersey. Rabbi Yosef and Esti Orensing are together with us, and it is through them that hundreds of youth and teenagers are inspired through programs like the Eternal Flame. They made tonight's event happen, and you can support their good work at eternalflame.org/donate. You can check it out in the chat. And any questions you have for our guest tonight, as she shares with us, please feel free to chat to the Eternal Flame screen name. And if time allows, at the end, we will take a number of questions for Dr. Eger. The spectacular showing that we have tonight, over 950 registrations, did not happen in a vacuum. And we want to thank dearly our co-sponsors to tonight's event, the Jewish Community Center of Northern New Jersey, and ask Erica Danziger, who's the program director at the JCC, to be spotlighted and to say hello to all of you.
Thank you, Rabbi Dov. On behalf of the JCC of Northern New Jersey, we are honored to be a part of bringing tonight's special program to our community. Thank you to the Valley Chabad, Rabbi Dov and Rabbi Yosef, and a very warm welcome to our JCC NNJ community. Thank you.
Thank you, Erica. And now, dear friends, Dr. Edith Eger herself. We have kept you waiting long enough.
Oh, thank you very, very much. I've been crying over the beautiful music I heard. You know, that music is so close to my heart and soul. I thank you so much for allowing me to really prepare myself and my soul to be with you. The Chabad has been my family. I am totally, totally addicted to you and your beauty and your commitment to the whole wide world. I know you take in anybody at any time, whatever they have, they don't really matter schizophrenics, you name them. You just take everyone as a human being and make them feel that they belong. So I want to talk about the belongingness and how it was so necessary to form a family of inmates in Auschwitz, because all we had was each other then, and of course all we have is each other now. So I admire the Chabad, and I feel very blessed to be a very proud Jew, because all I can think of that our ancestors didn't have it as good as you and I do. And guess what? They never gave up. And we carry that blood. I'm so proud to really, truly be a good role model, especially to young people, because they are the future, they are the ambassadors, they are the next presidents of the United States. Who knows? I always tell young people to think big, don't think small. And yet, I never know what I'm going to say, because I say what I lived.
So
And
let me
so I, yeah.
let me set the stage for you. I'm so excited to have you here. I have your book in front of me, which has been at my side for the last month and a half, and every page is marked, and it is a wonderful honor, an incredible honor to actually sitting you in Southern California, me at the Valley Chabad office, and I think what I'd like to, we're a little over a week away from Pesach. Pesach is the holiday that encapsulates the spirit of birth, of freedom. And when reading your book, The Choice, every page jumps out at you from the unimaginable horrors, and yet despite it all, rebirth, freedom. So your very first chapter is about the holiday of Pesach. Take us back to 16-year-old Edith in 1944.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. My mother was an amazing person in the kitchen. When I saw her doing the challah for Friday night, I could do a ballet just on it. And so she did a wonderful, wonderful Pesach. And my father got up and kissed us on our heads. And the following morning was a big, big knock on our door to pick us up and took us in a brick factory in Kassa, Hungary. When I was with Elie Wiesel, we thought we were on the same transport, May 1944. I don't know, I didn't do the research on it, but I know that for many years people asked me to write a book, and I said, I have nothing to say. But then finally, Philip Zimbardo, who wrote a foreword to The Choice, said to me that the people who survived and are famous are all men, and they need a female voice. So The Choice, every page has a lot of tears on it. And I highly recommend people to know that what you get out of your body doesn't make you ill. What stays in there does. And if they have time and effort, the best thing they can do is to write to the children that no matter what happened, that we don't give up. We do everything in our power to see to it that if there is not one way, we're going to try another way and never give in and never give up and never allow the enemy, as I did not allow them, even though they could put me in the gas chamber any minute. When we took a shower, we didn't know whether gas or water is going to come out. But we had each other, and we had full home. And in the second book, which is entitled The Gift, is, I think, we Jewish people survived the desert, the Holocaust, and here we have a state of Israel. And so I couldn't be happier at 93 to be able to let you know that we are extremely good role models to children, grandchildren. I have 6 great grandsons. That's my revenge to Hitler.
So you mentioned that fateful knock on that morning.
Yeah.
And your description in the book of being transported ultimately after the work camp and then to Auschwitz, in a way, it's almost clinical. You're separated from your parents and then forced to dance in front of Mengele. Can you share the inside of your mind, the young girl in that hell?
He came into the barracks and wanted to know about the new arrivals and who can entertain him. And my friends just threw me in front of him because I was the one who danced for the president. I had my Hungarian Csárdás all prepared. And so he looked at me and he said, "Dance for me," in a very kind, good voice. I didn't know just what to do, so I pretended, I closed my eyes, that the music was Tchaikovsky and I was dancing the Romeo and Juliet at the Budapest Opera House. And when I was done, he gave me a piece of bread, and I looked at the bread, and I was so hungry, and I could have eaten that bread right away, but thank God, I looked at the girls. I was on the top, and thank God, I went up and I shared the bread with the girls. And the story doesn't end because when we were on the death march from Mauthausen to Gunskirchen, when you stopped, you were shot right away. And those girls that I shared the bread with, just makes me cry, came and they formed a chair with their arms and they carried me so I wouldn't die. All we had was each other then. We had to really move beyond the me, me, me. If you were just for the me, 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 you didn't make it.
Well, I'm gonna quote from your book and talking about that dance. And you write this: "As I dance, I discover piece of wisdom that I have never forgotten. Dr. Mengele is more pitiful than me. I am free, which he can never be. He is more prisoner than I am." That's an incredible insight to feel free in Auschwitz. Where does a thought like that come from?
I had a wonderful ballet master, and I have to research it. I don't know if he was a son of a rabbi, but he was telling me about ecstasy. I had no idea what that word means. That no matter what happens, no matter where I am, no one can take away my inner resources. And that was a discovery in Auschwitz. He was pointing who to take to the gas chamber, and I began to pray. Not for me, not for me. Let me tell you, I have discovered it was really a place it was an opportunity for a discovery that no matter what happens, the outside I could not control. I can control the way I choose to respond and to change hatred to pity. I felt so sorry wearing this uniform and throwing children into the oven without even gassing them. I was somehow able to think pity instead of hatred. And I'm here to show you. I'm ready.
And amazing, so inspiring. If we have over 694 people tonight right now listening, and more on Facebook Live. If you haven't read Edith's book, both her books. It is highly recommended. It is life transformative. So you write, I learned the rules of survival. To survive is to transcend your own needs and commit yourself to someone or something outside of yourself. Is this especially true in Auschwitz? Is this something that we need to know today in our lives?
I think it was more in Auschwitz than anywhere else because nothing came from the outside. You know, Hans Selye got the Nobel Prize in stress studies, and he says anything that happened to us that is stressful, we have two automatic responses, we either fight or flee. It didn't work in Auschwitz. If you touch the guards, you were shot right away. Can you get me my cough syrup on the bedroom, please? Sorry.
Du gesund.
Excuse me.
Take your time.
Yes, all we had was each other there. My sister was hungrier than I was, so I saved the bread and I ate that whatever soup it was filled with medication. And then the following day I told him that I'm really not hungry at all. So I think it was very important to transcend the ego needs that we have, and it was very important for us to really separate ourselves from the guards. And my school teacher was there from the Jewish school that I was in, and that is amazing, the anti-Semitism that was then, even before Hitler. Because when I got out of the school, children were spitting at us and calling me a Christ killer. That was before Hitler. It was really unfortunate. I was in a Jewish school. I learned Hebrew, and I'm just going to, I'm on the bottom. L'chaim.
L'chaim.
L'chaim. So the fight or flee did not work. If I touched the barbed wires, I got electrocuted and I saw the blue bodies. So you had to learn, you had to discover. Nothing came from the outside. Today I tell women especially, if you wait for someone else to make you happy, you're never gonna be happy. I need a man. Edie, I need a man. And I say, you know what, if I were a man, I would run from you. You have to be a good fireplace when somebody wants to come close because you're soft and warm and beautiful. So self-love is self-care. It's not narcissistic. That is absolutely important. I tell people, children especially, get up in the morning, look in the mirror and say, I love me because God only created one of me. There'll never, ever be another me. Many people can do what you can do, but not the way you can do it. You're authentic. You're one of a kind. There'll never be another you.
To think that the story of your life leads you to that is just overwhelmingly beautiful. I want to quote another line. I underlined so many lines in your book. You write, over time I learned that I could choose how to respond to the past. I can be miserable or I can be hopeful. I can be depressed or happy. We always have that choice. It sounds simple when you write it. Do we really have that choice?
You know, I can't is not in my vocabulary. I have a lovely blackboard in my office, a whiteboard, and I put down I can't equals I am helpless. And then I take the apostrophe and the T, and then I say I can. Why? Because I think I can. the whole thing is true, that what we think, we create. And that's what I learned in Auschwitz, that I could not fight or flee. I had to learn to discover my inner resources that no Nazi could ever touch. So it's very important to recognize that when you're angry, you either venting it, suppressing it. In Hungary, there is a saying, women are told, don't breathe into your breast. That's a very wise thing, because many women just are the best patients in a hospital. But don't tell your children, don't tell and they don't really ask for what they want. They don't know how to negotiate. And I think it's important, really, truly, that the only one you're going to have for a lifetime is you. There is something between birth and death called life. Every moment. I enjoy every moment. I celebrate every moment. Now at 93, I don't talk about chronological numbers. They're going to happen anyway. When I was 40, my supervisor told me, you got to go get a doctorate. And I said, it's impossible. By the time I get a doctorate, I'll be 50. And you know what he said? You'll be 50 anyway. So please, you may be in midlife. If you're a woman, go get a law degree. You've been raising children. You were telling kids how to not be, we're very good at judges and lawyers. And if you wish, it doesn't have to be. But I think midlife, what I am recognizing as Dr. Eger, that people are afraid to be alone. I don't know if you experience in your congregation that midlife is really, it's not a crisis, it's a transition. You can go back to school as I did. You don't have to do, of course, any of it, because I know I had a doctor whose wife was a secretary, so he could go to medical school. So now he's feeling guilty. His 40s, tells his wife she should go back to school. And guess what? She said, no, I'm fine. I love the family. And he insisted, so she goes back to school. And guess what happened? She's studying psychology, and she comes home, and she's diagnosing her husband. You're obsessive compulsive. You are manic depressive. Ah! So he comes to me and he said, Edie, I created a monster.
Oh, yeah. I want to step back for a moment, Dr. Eger, because I don't know if this is just my experience of reading your book, but I'd like to hear from you. I found that as you were in the camps and during your experience in Europe, before you came to the States, you had this strength, this resilience. You almost were strong, incredibly strong. And coming to being free physically was more difficult until you transformed and metamorphosized. What was it about leaving Auschwitz, leaving Europe, coming to America, having the physical freedom, but being trapped in your mind?
Well, one of the things that happens in this country, that if you can open the doors that are there for you and go back to school, that is really wonderful. But I supported my husband and my little girl because my husband ended up in a TB hospital and my little girl was 2 years old. So what happens to immigrants' children, that the children get parentized. They teach the parents how to speak English. My little girl introduced me to peanut butter. I've never seen tuna fish in my life, peanut butter in my life. And she brought home a book called Chicken Little. And then came Ducky Lucky, Goosey Lucy, Turkey Lurkey. I didn't know one from the other. So that's what we do, and that's why I ask. Actually asked two questions. When did your childhood end? My little girl didn't have a childhood. She took care of the other children in a daycare center. She's a brilliant psychologist now. So, but we didn't have the normal upbringing and going from ages to stages. And I was professor of psychology, and I studied Piaget, people like that, about how we grow. But many times we survivors, we went from here to here. So my people asked me, did you love your husband? And I said, did I love my husband? I was very skinny. I was very lonely. And I was very hungry. And this guy bought me Hungarian salami. So we get married. So I become his mother, or I become his child. And we sure needed somebody like what I'm now, someone who would have helped us. And unfortunately, I divorced my husband. It had nothing to do with him. But then people say, you went back to him. I say, no. I married him as a child. The second time I was a woman to a man.
You had made that transformation.
And the rabbi told us that. The rabbi told us that we were never married Jewish because there was no rabbi, and we just went to the city hall and somebody married us. So we really became the Jewish, proud Jewish adults marrying as two adults. And of course, I teach couples how to negotiate, how to compromise, how to give and take, and how to give up the need to be right.
You married the second time as a free woman.
Yes.
So
yes,
you write,
and we had, yeah.
You write.
He became, my husband became a CPA, and he loved going to Europe, and he said, Edie works and I eat. all he was wondering what kind of food and where is the best Wiener Schnitzel. He loved going back to Europe. I don't think he ever really adjusted well in America. But when we came to America, I ended up working in a what you call piecework. The faster you work, the more money you make. I got 7 cents per dozen to cut the thread of little boxer shorts. So I worked as fast as I could. But when I went to the bathroom, 1949, there was a sign, colored. And that was very sad for me to see. Prejudice means to prejudge. So that's how I got involved with the women of color. And I did end up marching with Martin Luther King in 1963. You were not alive. And singing with the mamas and the papas, we shall overcome. And so today I tell people, this is like football, time out. Then see how you can maybe read a book that you didn't have time for before. Maybe you can start writing your book. Use this time out period to regroup and redecide that there is not the best we can do when we complain and say yes, but. Just say yes, and. Give me the but, no more yes, but. Yes, and. I can write a book. Look at that. New York Times bestseller? I mean, not even in my wildest dreams. And you know what? Reclaim your true self. Because usually, like Shakespeare, parents will label you. This is my shy one, this is my little one, this and that. And my mother told me very seriously, I'm glad you have brains because you have no looks. I had two beautiful sisters. I never said my name. I said, I'm Clarice's sister. I didn't have an identity. And that's what my mom told me and exactly gave me a name. I played the game. I became a very erudite, actually a scholar of French, of German, of Hebrew, actually, I was studying. But I never really gave up that pride that came with my blood. And that was the best thing in Auschwitz, that I said to myself, I don't like it. It's inconvenient, it's terrible, and it's temporary, and I can survive it. No more yes, but. Yes, and I'm here. I made it.
So talk about that a little deeper for a moment, because people, maybe not in the same way as you have gone through trauma, tragic events, and you talk about embracing the tragedy, embracing the trauma. What does that mean? And how does one do that?
That means whether you are an idealist or a realist. And when you're an idealist, and if things don't come your way, you can be very cynical, you can be very sarcastic. Hungarians are quite cynical, very sarcastic too. I think it's very important to be a realist. After two girls, I had a son. And my late husband was the happiest ever because he'll carry the Rabbi Eger name. But my son didn't develop as well as my girls. He didn't walk, he didn't talk. When he was 4 years old, I asked for a second opinion because I was told by the doctors that I have to send my child to a school for retarded. We don't use that word anymore, thank God. So I asked where to go for second opinion, and in Johns Hopkins in Baltimore, Dr. Clark looked at me after a week examining my son and said to me, your son is not retarded, he's gonna be what you make of him. And of course, I'm shaking there, sitting, and he said, he's gonna need speech therapy, occupational therapy, da. How much do I owe you, $10? I went home, I dropped out of school. My son, John, graduated as a top 10 student from the University of Texas. That's what you learn in Auschwitz. Never give up, ever. All we had was each other then, and of course, all we have is each other now.
And this is a running theme that you write about, and so beautifully said. You said victimhood comes from the inside. No one can make you a victim but you. And the question that I have for you, when someone is deliberately or intentionally hurt by someone, maybe a close friend, or even if someone is in a constant situation of pain and hurt, how does one overcome the feeling of injustice? What reframing can you offer?
One of the things I tell people, stop doing two things. Don't ask, how are you? And don't say, why don't you? We women are very good at that. I used to ask my patients, how are you? Fine. And then I said, oh my God, that's not the way to greet a patient next time. Geez, good to see you, I missed you. Watch the tone of your voice and meet the person where they are. Because if someone tells me that my little pinky is hurting. I'm not going to say I just saw a man without arms. Now you're going to feel guilty that you shouldn't feel the way you feel. So you end up feeling worse. I think what you want to do is keep a feeling company. Because love is not what you feel, is what you do. So you are the role model as a rabbi.
Hopefully.
But the rabbi has a wife. And the wife in Fiddler in a Roof decides that the father wants to be the head of the household and thinking that he makes all the decisions in the world. Guess who makes all the decisions?
Even what tie I'm wearing.
Oh, I love that movie. When she tells him that they're going to have a guy who's gonna marry their daughter. Oh my God, she had a dream. She goes, oh my. So I tell women, you are not a strong woman. You are a woman of strength. And that's what you got in Auschwitz. You became the person of strength that you never ever thought was possible. And you know, the Orthodox Jews went to the gas chamber with a prayer on their mouth. That was really documented. Viktor Frankl and I talked about it a great deal. He too closed his eyes when he was tortured, and I said, we both use the same skills. We closed our eyes and we imagined, we checked out. And he said, when I closed my eyes, I imagined I was at a Viennese lecture hall lecturing about the concentration camp. And I said, I too closed my eyes, but I was 16. He was an MD. He was, you know, an accomplished doctor. And I was a 16-year-old in love. And my boyfriend and I were going to Palestine, and we belonged to the Batar. And we were very militant.
Eric.
We're going to go and fight in Palestine. That was our goal. He was killed the day before liberation. I see him every day. Someone had a picture of us in a swimming pool. Yeah, we were very strong, very, very strong Zionists.
Did you think about God when you were in the Holocaust?
Yes, yes. People ask me, where was God in Auschwitz? I said, God was with me. Guided me from hate to pity. I prayed a lot. I prayed today in Hungarian always. When I go out and I come back, I pray to God in Hungarian. That brought me home safe. Yeah, I do a lot of praying in Hungarian, not in English.
Maybe that's the key. If more of us pray in Hungarian, God will answer our prayers.
Maybe, yes, that God only made one of me, and it's my responsibility to let you know that never in a history of mankind such a scientific and systematic annihilation of people existed. When they celebrated after one day that they can put 30,000 Jews in the oven in one day, I am part of that final solution of Eichmann.
So we may be free from death camps today.
Yes.
But the question that I think so many people ask in one way or another, are we really free to choose the life that we want to live?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's good to separate have tos and wants tos. Some people tell me I have to go downtown, I have to write a letter to my mother, I have to. No, you don't have to. But every behavior has a consequence. What we do have to do are things without which we cannot survive. We have to breathe. We need air. After 4 minutes, I'm a goner. We have to sleep. After 3 days, I would hallucinate. And I think the best thing you can do is be a good parent to you. Dependency breeds depression. It's very important for you to find that little boy in you, that little girl in you, and show up for her and him, and go buy a teddy bear, because we grieve over not what happened, but what didn't happen. When my granddaughter was going to a wonderful private school, she asked me to buy her a dress so she can go to her dance. And of course, I'm a big sucker. Let me tell you, I buy the best. My father was a tailor and became a couturier and told me when I grow up, I'll be the best dressed girl in town. So I go home, and out of the blue, I'm crying. I'm thinking, what's going on with me? Understand is such an academic word. I don't understand. But then I was crying, thinking, what am I crying about? I realized that I'm not crying because Lindsay went to a dance and I bought her a beautiful dress. I cried because I never went to a dance. Therapy is about grieving, feeling, and healing. You cannot heal what you don't feel. And you know, I am now at the university here working with medical students, and they don't medicate grief. It's not clinical depression. You can't heal what you don't feel. Crying is so good. Have a good cry, scream it out, and you know what? You'll feel better. You know, it's the opposite of depression is expression. My daughter calls it ED-isms. The other one is, are you revolving or are you evolving? I usually wear butterflies. I didn't do it today because I like the idea of the metamorphosis. But then you ask yourself, this is time out for you. What am I holding on to? And what am I willing to let go of? Give up the need for other people's approval. Give up the need to please everyone. Give up your perfectionism, because if you are a perfectionist, you're going to usually procrastinate. The two somehow, from my experience, I'll think about it tomorrow. Remember Scarlett O'Hara, Gone with the Wind? I'll think about it tomorrow. The Yankees are coming, war is going on. And the husband is leaving, and she says, I'll think about it tomorrow. No, there is no tomorrow. I live in the present. I can only touch you now.
You know, you mentioned your daughter. So I'm imagining that you're talking about the birth of your first child.
Yes.
And that was a traumatic experience, the way you describe it, because it brought about memories of that young girl who gave birth in Auschwitz. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Oh, that was amazing. That when she was ready to give birth to a child, they killed them both. I saw a Nazi putting a child upon a tree and playing how to aim the eye, and just kind of, we were objectified. We were told every day, and the only way we will get out of here as a corpse. So today I really differentiate between reacting or responding. So when someone tells you in English, you are this and you are that, you say to yourself, the longer they talk, the more relaxed I become. You take the negative stimuli, turn it into positive, and take a deep breath, and then another deep breath, and pretty soon you say, I'm practicing my low frustration tolerance level. So I'm not a shrink, I'm a stretch. And that's what, is important, to stretch your comfort zone right now, because you're locked in. We are all locked in. and we don't like it. But I love it because I don't have to get dressed. I don't have to go to the airport. I can just wear a beautiful scarf and you don't even know what's under there. So I find a gift in everything. It's there.
You had this incredible meeting with Viktor Frankl and this correspondence. When I was growing up, I grew up in Los Angeles in Southern California. And in Southern California, juvenile delinquents were given the book Man Searched for Meaning, which is in a book that inspired me as a youngster. I know my teacher, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, used to refer people to logotherapy. But because I think your book, I'm sorry.
Thank you. I was just going to say that the rabbi met up with Viktor Frankl. I don't know if they met in person, but we talked about that wonderful rabbi that you and I just adore.
So I think the choice has to be the next book for youngsters to read. And what I'd like to do before we take some questions that have been shared from the crowd, another one of our alumni from the Eternal Flame program would like to introduce herself and ask a question to you, if that's okay. So I'd like to ask Hannah Kaplan, and if anyone has specific questions, we will take a few. If you can share them with Eternal Flame screen. But I'll give the mic to one of our alumni. Hannah, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Hannah. Thank you so much, Dr. Eger, for speaking and sharing tonight. It's really, really amazing. As Rabbi Dov said, I also participated in Valley Chabad's Eternal Flame when I was in high school, and I'm currently at Binghamton University, and I have a leadership position in Chabad. So my question for you is, what's your most important message for those of us in college in leadership positions? And what would you like the next generation to take away from your story?
If she can do it, I can do it too. It's resilience, perseverance, that you can ask, Jewish people talk to themselves wonderfully, really wonderfully. And I love Sholem Aleichem. And you can ask yourself, is this the best I can do? And chances are that you may just recognize that you've been revolving rather than evolving, and it's time to let go of something, because in Europe, I drove a car that was stick shift. And when you drive a stick shift, it starts talking to you. So when I change gears, I have to release the clutch. So what are you holding on to, and what are you willing to let go of? It's a very good question, because every behavior has a consequence. Not punishment, consequence. And that's what I like to do with families, to write a constitution. There is no freedom without responsibility. It's anarchy. I teach 5-year-olds to put a fork in a dishwasher. I mean, it has to be age appropriate. But don't ask how are you when your child comes home from school. How was your day? How is school? I know that my little girl came home and cried because she wasn't invited to a birthday party. I didn't know anything about compassionate listening. So I used defense mechanism, denial, delusion, minimization most of all, because that's what I did. I said, oh, honey, no problem at all. I just baked a cake. I'm going to take you to the kitchen, and I'm going to make you a chocolate milkshake with my 7-layer Hungarian Dobostor. Imagine anything better than that. I paid no attention at all to her grief. everything has an answer: food. Food.
That's, thank you, Hannah. Thank you very much. Dr. Eger, if we have a few more minutes, I've gotten some of the questions from those in the crowd. This is, a few people asked this question in different ways, but you're a young teenager, day to day in the Holocaust.
Yeah.
What was it that kept you going? How did you deal with it in the reality of the day-to-day life?
I wanted to live so badly, so badly, that I didn't even consider when they were telling me that I'm never gonna get out of here alive. I just said to myself, I know better. I know better. They took my blood. I asked, why are you taking my blood? And he said to me in German, I'm taking your blood so we can give it to the German soldiers so we can win the war and take over the world, especially America. I could not yank my arm away, but I said to myself, how stupid you are. You think that my blood, the ballerina, is going to... So I actually think the humor was so important not to ever give up. I heard that Sholem Aleichem asked, why is the ocean water salty? Because of all the herrings in it. I love that humor. I love that humor. Humor is very important, philosophical humor, not sarcasm or cynicism.
And it's like...
I must tell you that you're the most brilliant interviewer I ever had.
I appreciate that.
One of those most beautiful rabbis. Really, thank you.
Thank you. I've just two more questions. I heard that the reason why the sea is salty is because all of the Jewish tears.
Oh, I never heard of that. That is even much better. We cry a lot.
We cry a lot, but we laugh too, and we have tears of laughter.
We cry when the kids come, we cry when the kids go. You know, we cry a lot, and that's good. That's good. I think the Jewish people are exceptionally invested in each other, not being narcissistic. Just like I shared my bread with my sister. You want to hear something?
Yes.
My sister always lied about her age. So every time I visited her, I would ask her, how old am I? So we would, you know, not say the things that we don't want to say. But I'm 6 years younger than she is, almost 7. And she was 100 years old, January 23rd. And she'll tell you that she's 99 years old. Now you tell me, what don't try to make sense out of things.
That's wonderful. That is wonderful. She was a great strength for you in your story, in your life. And I did want to tell you that even though you're not wearing your butterfly, the shawl and your very presence is like a butterfly, and the beautiful colors.
Yeah, pretty exquisite. My sister asked me when we were completely shaven, how do I look? That's a pretty classic Zsa Zsa Gabor question. How do I look? And I had a choice then, as you have a choice now. I like to bring the there and then to the here and now. You have a choice whether you pay attention what you don't have and what you lost, or point out something what is still here. And Magda asked me, how do I look? And I realized I became her mirror. And I said to her, Magda, you have beautiful eyes, and I didn't see it when you had your hair all over the place. Don't tell somebody you're a pretty girl, but you're fat, but you're pimply. Get rid of the yes, but. Just say yes and. Yes and that's how we entered Auschwitz when she asked me, how do I look? Totally naked, totally shaven. And so I was already practicing how to really think positively and see what is still here left rather than what is lost.
Do you have that? It's so precious, and it answered a lot of the questions that just were asked. People are asking, you know, how to find the way to find the positivity, even in a difficult situation. A few people have asked when they're going through the constant pain, or someone is in chronic illness.
Embrace it, because the more you suffer, the stronger you become. And what I would like from you is for you to bless us, please.
You know what? I'm going to bless you, but I'm going to ask you first, because I believe with all my heart that as a woman, as a survivor, as a teacher, your blessings are probably more powerful than any blessings that I can share. So I'm going to give us a blessing to find the strength to choose and to transform, and then I'll share a blessing.
Thank you. It's just really, there is something between birth and death called life. And we don't seem to appreciate what we have many times until we lose it. So find the Auschwitz that you had in your life, because there is no one really with us who didn't have some kind of a trauma. And yet, you could have died. I was very suicidal after I was liberated in the hospital, and I was put in a cast. I could hardly breathe, and I was very suicidal, and God told me, if you die, you're never going to find out what happens, and I want you to be for something rather than against something. And so I wish the same for you, to have a plan between now and when you are going to be on the deathbed. I know I'm going to be very satisfied, very happy that I had the opportunity to tell you what happens when bad people, actually good people, because we're not born with hate, we're not born with judgment, that we can somehow form a human family, that I can be I and you can be you, but together we're going to reach out, the Chabad family all over the world, that we can grow and be survivors and never a victim.
Amen.
I'm not a victim. It's not my identity. It's not who I am. It's what was done to me. There is a big difference.
And that is, in some ways, Dr. Eger, the story of our people, the story of Pesach, an opportunity. And I bless all of us. I bless you with gesund, with health, but I bless all of us to, as you said, to leave our Auschwitz, leave our Egypt behind, find the freedom from, and then the freedom to, as you wrote so beautifully, the freedom to, and the freedom to look forward to the place of freedom, which should be Israel, and Israel in our hearts, and Am Yisrael Chai, and next year in Jerusalem. God bless you, strength. Thank you so much. What an incredible inspiration. And thank you all for joining us. A happy and beautiful Pesach to all of you.
Yes.
Thank you, Erica and Rabbi Yosef and the entire wonderful community. I wish we can have everyone take part in saying good night, but we'll wish you well and God bless you. Thank you.
I tell you what I sometimes ask to do. I ask to do the high kick. So if you like to do the high kick, we can do the high kick.
Let's do
Shall
it.
we?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's do it. Woo. Okay.
Hold on, come back here. Take a step back. You want to put a hand?
That's my grandson.
Hello.
Hello, grandson.
I'm the
Handsome
high kick
guy.
assistant. Yeah, you know, runs in the family.
1, 2, 3.
Woohoo!
Thank you. God bless you.
God
Keep
bless
dancing.
you.
God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Have the strudel, honey. We
Good
did
night,
it.
everybody. Good night.